All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the podcast, but actually as a video today. Let's Talk Football episode 19, and we're posting it as a video because we have our man Doug on the show, and we're going to link, he's a Panthers guy, we're talking Panthers today, we're going to link all that stuff in the comments and the description. But Doug, maybe give us an intro.
What you want to know, man? It's your man C Doug. You over at Wassup Doug, man. Like my guy Jay said, Panthers content. We do training camp tours. A couple of teams that we have covered is the Philadelphia Eagles, the Dallas Cowboys, Carolina Panthers, obviously, and the Kansas City Chiefs. We will have more details going into the summer where we're going this year, with Panthers not having training camp or not allowing fans to be at training camp. We kind of made a decision to go on our tour this year. So I think a lot of football fans will enjoy the coverage that Wassup Doug will be bringing to the table when it comes to our tour this year. So, I mean, we talk Panthers, but where are your boots on the ground, man? Was able to go to the Shrine Bowl, did get invited to the Combine, but got engaged for those that do know. And it's just, I mean, football's here. I love it. I think a lot of us content creators like Jay and myself, I think the time is about to roll. It's kind of slow cooking now, but it's about to speed up. And then, you know, once a new season, you always think your teams will make it to the Super Bowl. But I really think Panther fans, we're really in for a treat this year. I really do think that.
I agree. And so we're doing a little bit something different today. Usually we just do a live stream of, you know, post playoff round or NFL draft or that kind of stuff. But Doug's got some really cool Panthers stuff. And you guys know I'm a Packers fan, so I don't care. Like, not in a rude way, but like, I'm not, you know, watching much Panthers videos. And Doug's such a cool guy. And we just did an episode for his channel that probably by the time this is out, you can click the link in the description and, you know, you'll see it on his video. But I've never had, I don't know if you know this. I used to do an NBA show every single day, Monday through Friday for, I think, 2 years. So we did about 350 episodes. And you know, we would just talk football talk basketball. And so that's kind of the vibe I wanted on this channel. But like I'm saying, usually it's always live. So we have people, you know, just spewing stuff in the comments section about, you know, whatever is on their mind. So I wanted to do this episode with you and talk Carolina Panthers football specifically, post it as a YouTube video. You know, you can listen to this and all of our episodes, or my episodes, in the description on Let's Talk Football with Jackson Elstro. And I'm really curious because this is the kind of stuff we would do with the NBA channel. Is I don't know too many NFL creators. I definitely don't know any other Carolina Panthers creators. So, you know, tell me about where are you from? How'd you get into Panthers football? And, you know, just kind of how did the whole thing start and then, you know, evolving into YouTube for the Carolina Panthers?
So, born in Jacksonville, North Carolina. So I am a Carolina boy. Nice. Grew up in Greensboro, North Carolina. Dad was a Cowboys fan. Tried to convert me being a Cowboy fan, but I was loyal to the state. I was first quarterback that I remember was Rodney Peete. Some bad times when we had a quarterback. One of my favorite players was Stephen Davis. Growing up as a kid, I do remember when we made it to the Super Bowl, played the Patriots, and
Jake Delhomme,
Deshaun Foster, Smitty. Everybody had to be a Smitty fan. I'll never forget. I was at my aunt's house when Smitty caught that overtime touchdown against the St. Louis Rams, and I was just screaming from the top of my lungs. Used to get all the newspapers when it came to that playoff run. YouTube should have probably, or Talking Sports probably should have been a long time ago. Had the privilege of being a GA and doing equipment with Arkansas State. That's when I really fell in love with football. Got to be mentored by great coaches, a couple of players that made it to the league. Still got connections with players that are actual coaches in the league as well. And YouTube just came, was, you know, doing my rounds with a couple of Panther content creators. And shout out to all the Panther content creators. I know Jay said that he hasn't talked to some, but we have some heavy hitters with Panther content creators. So I'm not going to go through the names because I don't want to miss anybody, but the OGs know who they are. And I know I'm part of the newcomers. Like I tell everybody, what's up, Doug? Go support everybody. We all have different perspectives, different analytics, different ways that we like to present it and do shows with you guys. But I think this is the time where a lot of content creators are going to be coming together. And as you can see on the channel, the collabs that we're doing are with some of the Panther content creators in 2025. That's one thing I love to do is collab where I'm just hosting, putting thoughts out there, but we have great visuals, have a great show, and just kick your feet up, go get your favorite drink, and keep pounding and enjoy the show. So that's how we rock over there. What's up, Doug?
Yeah, he's got some great visuals, guys. We just did it on a Panthers defensive draft video. He's got some great visuals, kicking it up in Canva. But I do a Rockets stream. I've got a Rockets podcast. I think we're on like 98 episodes. I've covered, independently on YouTube, the Rockets since 2020. And I know all those people in that space. And so, or I know of them, I should say. And I'm glad you made that point because like collab efforts is just so fun. Like
it's hard because you don't know if people really rock with you, but
yeah, you can have some shitters for sure.
Correct. I haven't had any no's, so that's good. But I've had to reschedule, and some people have said, "Doug, you haven't reached out to me," so I know people are watching that. Oh, Doug is collabing with this person. Well, I haven't got a call. But again, my plan is to collab with as many Panther content creators and outside sources that I love to enjoy as well and bring them on the channel. So that's our goal for 2025.
So you do streams, you do videos, recaps, all that, everything Carolina Panthers. Can you walk me through? Because I do all NBA all NFL. So I'm a Green Bay Packers fan, and I always make sure that my Packers are first on the list. And my Sunday is going to revolve around the Green Bay Packers schedule, no matter what I need to post on YouTube or what I want to watch, et cetera, et cetera. Do you just have like a Panthers? Do you have like a ritual on game day that you just like to get into? Like when I was in college, I would get a Five Guys double cheeseburger and just get high when I was a freshman in college. That was how I watched the Green Bay Packers for like 2 years.
So for me, I wouldn't say it's a ritual, but I have to watch pregame, Sunday kick or Sunday countdown.
Kickoff.
Yeah, kickoff. I do fantasy football, so I set my lineups. Being in Texas,
that's right. Yeah,
I'm in Texas, so I have to find
the stream.
The stream, so I can get the pregame for our regional location. But the one thing I will say is a ritual, and I hope my future wife don't get me. I can't stand talking on the phone during the game. That also goes to my Tar Heels. Like I can't. Like if it's not dire need, like I'll call you on commercial break, but during the game, I'm not trying to talk on the phone. Like I might text, you can text me, but if you call me, like it gotta be like we're screaming through the phone. Shout out my guy, Uncle Quan. That's my co-host over there. What's up, Doug? The Panthers Experience. We'll text and talk throughout the show all the time. Also, a couple other people like CJ. It's my guy AJ that's here in Texas as well. So people call and text, but it's just like, bro, like I'm not gonna answer the phone. So that I won't say like it's a ritual, but most of the time I like watching at the house. I can go to Texas Live or go to a bar, doesn't bother me. But if I'm at home, like, hey, give me this 2.5, 3 hours. If you want to go to Target for the rest of the night, I'm good. You gave me, I sit on this couch, watch the game, and we're good to go. So, like I said, I have to be more flexible because again, getting married, hey, you got to figure it out. So, but she's my number one supporter. She's coming around a little bit more with the potting, giving me suggestions, and trying to understand football. So that's my ace coon right there, man. So shout out to her.
Yeah, you gotta have a good one. It's tough being glued every Sunday to the
Correct.
TV. I can't watch my Packers on TV. Like, if a friend's having like a get together and it's a regular season game, and I will have a firm eye on the game, like I will go to that and feel fine about it. But ever since I started making YouTube videos, I just prefer to be home watching
Yeah.
that game on my couch, just, being on, the phone, sending texts, whatever, during commercial breaks and stuff. But I like to be in my element. Do you have a food or anything? Is there anything so random, but are you not munching on anything, or you're not
Oh,
boozing?
I'm not gonna say it's a consistent snack, but yeah, you munch. Like I said, I'm always drinking water when I'm doing a pod, or I'll have like the stress ball. I will have like the little
Oh
football
my
stress
God,
ball.
you're a
So,
diehard. I
yeah, so
love it.
I'll toss it up here and there. Yeah. So like I said, snack wise, it just depends. But most of the time, I'm not going to get anything to eat during the game.
Wow, okay.
I might go before,
Yeah.
or literally at halftime,
After.
and I'm placing the order. Gotta be back. And sometimes I've been a little bit behind in the car, got it on the phone, and watching it head at home. Yeah.
Yeah, it is stressful. Yeah, planning those Sundays around, like food, adding food into all that is fun. The Carolina Panthers went 5-12 last
Yeah.
season. We just talked on your channel about, just like historical bad rushing defense, just from like a diehard Panthers fan. Let alone like, you got all this Bryce crap, you got new drafts, you got free agent picks, Dave Canales entering year 2. I mean, how do you just feel, as a Panthers fan, not even necessarily as a creator, but just like if you were like a, little kid, how are you feeling about, the franchise?
I would be honest. I went to a couple of games. This past year was very hard.
Yeah.
Going to that first game just took the wind out of my sail. It's the first game of the year. Every fan base is like, oh, we don't know what to expect. We're thinking our team's going to be great. Went to training camp, saw what Bryce was able to do against the Jets. Kind of got fool's gold going against the Buffalo Bills in that last preseason game. And then you go into New Orleans and just get mollywopped. It was hard. And one thing I have never done since I've been purchasing tickets is sold my tickets. I literally sold my tickets when we played Washington Commanders. And that trip, the future missus was supposed to go with me, and she was like, "Are you sure?" And I can tell, like, she was like, "Y'all are not doing too good. Like, I don't want to sit out, outside, and then, something happens." So, last year was very painful. When Bryce got benched after the Chargers game, it was very painful. The rift between the fan base with the CJ Stroud and the Bryce Young is still going on, and I think that's going to go on until their careers are done.
Yeah.
But I think the light was at the end of the tunnel, and we're not at the tunnel driving through it. But when Bryce came back, I think a lot of doubters that did not believe in Bryce started to somewhat believe or give him an ounce of, okay, I see what the young man can do. But now the issue is how he performed in the last game with Atlanta. There can't be any drop off, and people that want to support the team but don't trust Bryce, there can't be any excuse. You go get him a number 1 wide receiver in T-Mac. Then you have his second year in Xavier Legette. You had Chuba Hubbard. You bring in a Rico Dow. Offensive line comes back intact. One of the strongest units of this team. Then on the defensive side of the ball, their main focus was fixing that defense from back to front to back, however you want to say it.
Yeah.
And I think now, before Tampa Bay, before Tom Brady got there, the NFC South was a toss-up. Flip a coin, whatever it lands on. I know it's 2 sides, but it was never a repeated champ like this. Three times Tampa Bay has won the division.
Yeah, they're running.
And for me, I honestly think the division is a goal that can be accomplished. But at the same time, it's a lot of weight on Bryce's shoulders. It's a lot of weight on Dan Morgan's shoulders. But it really is on Dave Canales, the quarterback whisperer. But one thing that I think a lot of people forget is Dave Canales was a wide receivers coach before he was an offensive coordinator. And you bring him with Isaac, and you also have our wide receivers coach as well. I think that room is one of the strengths that we've never had like that in a while. And when I say strength, we have 9 wide receivers right now. And we're not just talking about chump suey. We're talking about wide receivers that can come in and compete. So Bryce has weapons. I think Bryce's aura showed a little bit where he was more comfortable in the NFL. So right now, last year was very hard, but I am very excited to see what the 2025 season brings for the Carolinas.
Dude, before we even did your episode, I had completely forgotten about Carolina week 1, 47-10 against Saints. I had not even processed how bad the first 2 games of Bryce Young, the Carolina Panthers, were that resulted in the bench. The 26-3 loss against the Chargers, but the 47-10 one against the Saints really stands out. And then, New Orleans did it again 1 week later, and then they, end up faltering. But yeah, I totally forgot about how that season like really began, because we all know Bryce Young got benched, but it was like that freaking bad. Because I've got family in Charlotte. I've got a couple cousins in Charlotte, and I always like talking about them if they're going to these live sports and stuff. It's like, man, the Panthers aren't too good. It's kind of depressing. The way you guys ended the season was awesome, and I feel like every Panthers video last year or before the free agency season, that period began, I would always look back at that Philly game that you should have won. But that was like the real like catalyst to, and the Kansas City game, you could look back, Giants, Saints, etc. But you go back to like, you lost by 3 to Kansas City, lost by 3 to Tampa, lost by 6 to Philly, should have beaten Philly, and Dallas, whatever. But then
the Tampa Bay game we should have won if Chuba Hubbard didn't fumble in overtime.
Yeah, exactly. Overtime. And, that's the reason probably that Baker Mayfield and Tampa won the division, because Atlanta beat them twice, and it didn't look good for Tampa heading in to like week 17. Yeah, it didn't look good that they were going to make it. Yeah. But that Atlanta game specifically, Bryce doing his thing got you feeling really good. And so because I've got a Tampa Bay Buccaneers channel I've had for a couple of years, because I moved to Florida and I just love covering football. This was before Will Upton really began NFL content, and I was like branching off into team stuff. Dave Canales is like my least concern. Like, if you talk to a NFL media guy and you ask them about the Carolina Panthers, they're going to tell you about Bryce Young concerns, and they're going to tell you about, they don't even really know Chuba, and they don't even really know, young wide receivers, blah, blah, blah. My point is, people are focused on the offense for the Carolina Panthers, and I really like Dave Canales. I really like Bryce Young. I think you guys have a really solid offensive line. So to me, there's a ton of pressure, like you're saying, on Bryce Young to continue to feed off that final month stretch or that last week 18 game against Atlanta. But the whole season, all I care about this upcoming year, even though Carolina had a historical bad rush defense, is getting that offense back on track, because I just want to see it, like you're saying, for a consistent, not 1 month or 6 week stretch. I want to see it for a full stretch, because as good as Carolina's draft was, specifically on the defensive side, I know being the 32 ranked defense, giving up 31.5 per game and 180 rushing yards per game, it's not bang. It's going to take some time.
Fast. It shouldn't be that fast to fix, but Dan Morgan, that one thing we say here in the Carolinas, and content creators and fans, let Dan cook. And Dan's been cooking. I'm talking about cooking this offseason.
Yeah. Is there any just like even off the dome, any guy you're excited about? Bobby Brown, Pat Jones. I got a Raiders channel too. I'm huge on Trevon Moehrig.
That's what I was about to say. I would say Trayvon Moore, because again, when I was in college, I worked with safeties. I worked with corner. So I like DBs.
Yeah.
Right here, my guy. If I let me turn the light off. J.C. Horn is one of my favorite Panthers. For me, I'll give you. Do you want just off season, or are you just talking about period? I'll do off season because you said off season. So I like Trayvon Moore. I like Trayvon Moore. Bobby Brown, because now Derek Brown has that Starla Tulue and KK Short type relationship with the player coming in. And number 3, I'll give it to Tech. I wasn't happy with the pick because I wanted defense, but the way Dan strategized that draft and was able to bring in 2 DNs like we talked about over on my channel with the
Nick and
clown dude.
Prinsley,
I do, yeah. I definitely want to see how Tech goes because I think Excel will have a good year, but having another player with the attributes and the capabilities that T-Mac, let me start calling him Tech. T-Mac brings to Carolina. I can't wait to see him in that process blue.
Yeah, I agree. It's so I made a ton of Panthers stuff before the draft, and it's like, touted as a really, good edge draft. Carolina's, even before the Clowney wave is, a needed thing. And, you guys take him at, what was it, 8? And that's just, honestly, that's the part of what I love about the draft. And we were talking about this on your channel where, GMs just kind of knowing what they're doing, where you just kind of have this stuff in your back pocket. You just kind of have that Cam Jackson in the 5th round in your back pocket. We know it's a deep edge rush draft. A guy like Nick's, going to fall. Princey fell all the way to the 3rd round. Like, getting, because your whole thing entering the offseason for NFL media was wide receiver number 1. So are you going Diggs? Are you going Amari Cooper? Are you going with one of these old veterans? And so Stephon Diggs goes to the New England Patriots, and we're seeing the writing on the wall. All right, Ted's not going 4 to New England. So hopefully he goes 8 to Carolina. And like you're saying, shoot, man, we had a really bad defense last season. Why are we going with wide receiver? And then you see the 2nd and 3rd round picks, and you start to feel way better. And just, I think having a GM like that is, I've got it with my man Goody, our GM in Green Bay. I trust him fully on whenever he takes a pick and whoever it is and blah, 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 no matter what our needs are. Like, I trust my GM. I'm not going to sit here on the mic and be like, dude, how do you have Luther Burden available? And you go with, Marcus Golden. I'm like, yeah, Marcus Golden? Are you freaking kidding me? Like, hell yeah. And then you see the 2nd and 3rd round picks, and you're like, okay, the picture's been painted. I can see the vision now. So
yeah, I agree with you on that, man. Once a GM keeps his word and you see the vision for the team, you're gonna fall in love with them.
So we'll end it here. I know, and by the way, watching here, link in bio, we're gonna have your channel and the link to our video, depending on time. But you mentioned this in the video that we just did. 2025 expectations. How are we looking for people that didn't watch that?
Yeah, well, hopefully you watch both.
Right.
Like you watch this one and you go over and be like, let me see what Will and Doug cooked up over there.
Yeah, because they're different. Yeah, they're different.
They're totally different. I will say it can't be below 500, meaning that 8 to 9 wins. You would see 8 to 9 wins. You went through the ceiling. You've exceeded expectations. And for me, I will love a couple of things. 2 1,000-yard rushers. Dave Canales loves running the ball. Rico Dowd, Chuba Hubbard. Bryce Young and Lee Stone for 3,000 yards. Love it.
Yeah.
Defense, being a middle of the pack defense. 15 between 18, I'm cool with. Turnovers, at least get 25 plus turnovers. And interceptions, forced fumbles. You have it. Again, this is a young defense. You look at Trevin Wallace being your starting linebacker with Shaq Thompson not being re-signed. Then you look at a Princely and you look at a Nick Scorton that are possibly starters. DJ Wanham is still young, but him and Pat Jones are the elder statesmen in that room. Derek Brown, Bobby Brown, my guy JC, Mike Jack, Ransom. This defense can make some noise. That issue is on Ejiro Evero, Easy E. He has the pieces at his disposal. Can that defense now show which we thought it would possibly show with the pieces that he was able to do in Denver. So for me, I'm looking again 8 to 9 wins. I'm definitely happy with because that gives you a little bit of that wild card feel.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Also, Bryce Young having a good year and that defense again being up middle of the pack. I'm good being a Panther fan going into 2025 when that season ends.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. Around the wild card, 100%. Main thing, Bryce Young, just steady improvement, and
Correct.
everything should be good. I'm glad you brought up the DC because I totally agree with you. I think he's got the pieces that we were saying on your show. Like, there is a lot of versatility, especially on that defensive line now with all these rookies, a couple of new free agent acquisitions, existing players like Derek Brown. I mean, he can get a little bit fun here. I want to end it on this because you mentioned it in the show we just did with you about a safety. Who is that safety that is on your mind right now?
You talking about Trayvon Moore?
Yeah, I feel like when we just did your show, you were saying maybe another safety acquisition was
Oh,
possibly
Blackman.
coming our way.
Blackman, yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
Indeed.
sir. Yes, sir.
He's still a free agent. Wow.
He's still a free agent, and with the money that we do have, I know a lot of people want Asante Samuel Jr. as well for
Oh.
corner depth, but
Yeah.
Blackman was definitely attached to Carolina. With him and Justin Simmons coming in for visits, he has not signed. I think he was just waiting on the money. We were waiting for the money to get right, and if he does come in, hey, sky's the limit for that defense. It just depends on if everybody buys in and if that scheme fits everybody because you have every piece that you need then. And I
Yeah.
still do believe in Damani Richardson and Ransom, but I think having another solid safety that's been in the league. I know he's had a couple of injuries at Indy, but
Mm.
his play does jump off the film as well when he's healthy.
No, I totally agree with, especially with Ransom, easing more of an easing in. I know Damani's, got it, um, the experience already, but Ransom, the rookie out of OSU, I totally agree. Not concerned about his rookie stats or his,
Correct.
rookie impact necessarily. But thank you, Doug, for popping in here.
Yes, sir.
Let's talk football, episode number 19. You can check it out on Spotify and Apple. Links can be down below in the description. And you can also check out, we're probably going to link your channel, Doug's channel here for Panthers stuff. I'll link our video that we did on your page. And
Appreciate it.
yeah, I'll put it in the comment section as well. And I am sure that you will be back on here soon.
Yes, sir, man. Appreciate you. Appreciate the invite, Jay.
Hell yeah.